Muted, but now I'm ready to rock and roll. No, I was just gonna say I'm so excited to be in here and see you be wrong about Clonk there on that first team All Pro.
Yeah, I mean, there is a chance I could be wrong overall about the Vlad banners only, but they got one crown for a reason. And so now, as we head into our matchup here tonight, Mitch, I mean, coming into this, Excellency hasn't seen a team of this caliber make it to the finals yet in their season. So I mean, coming in, Glaive have to be the favorites, right?
Well, yeah, last year CGC didn't actually end up making it to the finals, and they're the Glaive of last year. Glaive, absolutely dominant performance with a 3-0 over YO and a crazy regular season. You would think they'd be favored, but if you watch the post-game interview from last week, VBO had a lot to say about how they were only running on, not full power, and that usually when it comes to finals, they kick things up a big ton notch. And, they're the reigning champions. It's hard not to believe them.
Yeah, I mean, Juicebox, after all the extraneous things, right? Like we're hearing from the players in Discord, we're hearing from the players in their post-game interviews, the interviews that you and the rest of the team did this week as well. Vlad Banners only seems super prepared, and yet Starling came out and said we're just gonna beat them. We're just gonna win. I mean, how do you prepare to beat a prepared team?
That's a really tough question, and Glaive is the sort of squad you don't necessarily even need preparation as, right? They're so dominant lane to lane, and don't get me wrong, Prophet's my boy. I love that guy. But POS is kind of nutty. So they got to find some slightly cheesy strategy, something that you just, like in a boxing fight where it's that random right hook that catches you out of nowhere. They got to find some sort of champion, some sort of composition that's going to put them in a position to where they can come out on top in a situation or in a finals where I personally don't think they should.
That's very fair. I mean, the meta that we're currently in right now is pretty binary, right? Like we see a lot of tanks coming out of the jungle with that chem tank. We're seeing fighters in the top lane, a la Aatrox, dueling into silly things like Scion. And it's just meta bot laners. We're seeing Tristana, we're seeing Kai'Sa, really able to take over. So, when we're looking, at that, we're talking about the bottom lanes, right, Mitch? I mean, obviously, we had the wonderful DJ Hype video talking about Vark and, being kind of slanted at the stage of the All-Pro teams. So, I mean, now, do you think that they can just power through and level up even further in this grand finals as Glaive do?
Yeah, the bot lane is going to be an interesting aspect of this series because definitely neither of them, the ADCs, were on the All-Pro list, right? And Vark especially, I mean, he's on the first best team and wasn't on the All-Pro list. It kind of sucks, right? But I mean, last week he did have a great performance and also was able to pull out the Seraphine bot lane. So he is willing to take a step back and say, hey, like, I have an amazing top side. I'm a great player myself too, but like, why not just play Seraphine? It's a broken champion. I can help my team out.
Yeah, and so Mitch, I do want to thank you for that insight. And so as we head into the draft phase, I want you just off the rip, no information whatsoever, who's going to take game one?
Who's going to take game one? Don't even see the draft. I'm just going to go Vlad Banners only. There's a lot of Glaive hype, but I am always a fan of the reigning champions. Let's go VBO.
We love to see it, folks. VBO all the way. Juicebox, guy, this draft is lightning quick. We're already completely through ban phase and into the third phase of picking.
Yeah, no, it just goes to show these guys know exactly what they want to play, and they're running through this draft. I mean, this is called the League of Legends speed run draft. Probably, if not the fastest one of the season, it's got to be close. But you can already see, some powerful picks coming out for both sides. You got Glaive Amethyst. They're going to grab up the Tristana. They're going with the Lilia. They're going to probably grab another ridiculous champion. But meanwhile, you already have the bottom lane grabbed up for VBO and Jinx and Thresh. And that is the sort of bottom lane where, yeah, they're strong in lane, but it's outside of lane where VBO is really looking to punish. And I think that's kind of smart, right? Because on Glaive Esports, you don't want to skill check Vark and Trivia Boy. Debatably the best ADC, debatably the best support in the league. And if you're going to outmatch them, you don't want to do it in lane.
Yeah, no, I mean, if we even look back to last week, talking about bottom lanes, Walnut has been struggling a little bit. We've seen them on the Bard and, similar things. And, they just sometimes they get caught out and, it just kind of puts them in a tough spot. So, I mean, I do like seeing them more on the Thresh. It is something that is pretty standard. It's very easy to operate and it offers a ton to your team. And so with the Galio pickup, I do believe that is going to be in the mid lane. I think POS has shown, some really strong stuff in the mid lane overall, and the Galio just brings a little bit more. Whereas, bringing it down into the bottom lane potentially, I don't know if it's quite the same power level to the team. And when you look at what, VBO have banned, they're kind of okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. And speaking of being kind of okay with it, Glaive Esports also just gave the reins on Hecarim over to Jimmy in the jungle for VBO. That's something Jimmy has been playing the entire season. That has been undebatably his best champion in the jungle. But VBO says, no, we're going to throw Jimmy on the Graves instead, and maybe try to facilitate that middle game power spike that Graves kind of brings to help Jinx get to the late game so that I guess Jinx doesn't get totally run over. But to me, that is insanity that they're just going to let that pick go. And I think Jimmy needs to bring his A game if he's going to try to match up to Baby Powder on this Lilia. Baby Powder is a very diverse player. He has plenty of different things he can do. And Lilia is just one of those creme de la creme picks that he has always ready to go. So I'm very shocked to see Jimmy on the Graves.
Yeah, I think the Graves is actually a better matchup dependent one here.
Sure.
Not so much that, Hecarim can't be played into Lilia. The horse duo is something we've seen a lot of, both professionally and here in Excellency, where they've been kind of handshaken a lot of the time. So, this time VBO are opting into that Hunter, Bambi situation with the Graves. They're looking to get a little bit more tempo, a little bit faster. Graves can really take over games as well. We saw it most recently in the LCK. Really strong performance in their playoffs from a Graves player. So it makes sense that you're able to carry over here. Jimmy is going to be able to fast clear, hard clear, and then get into these lanes and just do a ton of damage. And when you look at the composition so far from Glaive, it is very easy to get into these lanes and, do something because of how squishy they are all going to be. And this second half of the draft completely changed the entire game plan. That is a Tristana mid, a Galio support, and an Ezreal AD carry. Like, that is completely game changing.
All right. I really am not a fan of the Galio support in this scenario. Let's think about the pros, right? First pro, Galio is going to be one of the better champions for getting on top of Jinx and punishing that AD carry. And Stingus is going to have to play very carefully for it. Galio, while you would think he's going to be really awesome at getting onto Prophet on this Veigar, I don't know. I mean, Trivia Boy is one of my favorite players I've ever seen, but the cage just makes it so hard to engage onto the Veigar. And there's so much AD damage coming in for VBO across the board. The Galio really excels into AP carries. Well, you have the Veigar, that's great, but primordial damage is still going to pop you immediately. Unless you're just massively tanky. So I don't love them picking up the Galio. I think that was a mistake, honestly.
Yeah, when you consider some of the other options that are out there, I mean, we could have gone an Enchanter, especially if you're going to be going with double AD. I do think that they felt they needed a tank, but I mean, you still have Alistar available, Nautilus is available, which can be a little bit more meta in one sense. The Galio pick does offer you a nice little round out because, Kled's not going to be a contested pick realistically, so they knew that they were going to be able to get that pretty much for free if they wanted that counter. Even if they don't get it as a counter for the Urgot, you can still pick something that is kind of dive heavy to a certain degree and have the Galio follow up. And I think that's kind of what they're planning for. They're putting, the Tristana in the mid lane. Paz is going to be able to just, rocket jump in, hyper aggressive, Halo Blades, with the explosive charge, and then have that hero's entrance followed up very nicely, get you a little bit of a shield, get you a little bit more zone control as well with that hard knockup, and just really control a team fight that way. Like, imagine coming into a dragon fight, you have to worry about, rocket jump hero entrance. Like, that is insane. Or a charge hero's entrance. Like, there is a lot going on there. That one has a little bit more timing to bend in, certain way. So it's just an overall good team fight pick for Glaive, and they are going to be trying to team fight VBO all the time, every objective, every single time.
I hear what you're saying. I see what you're putting on the table, but I refuse to pick it up because
Okay.
is a great champion to follow up on either defensive or offensive, plays. But the thing is when you're making an offensive play, which is kind of what you're setting up here, you need someone who's not going to die the second they run in. So yes, they have Kled. That's great. But the rocket jump for Tristana, you're jumping into an Urgot, a Graves, a Jinx, and a Veigar. I don't. And a Thresh, yeah, if you just want to add a little more insult to injury here. So let's go in the world where Vark jumps into everybody on Ezreal, or you have POS jumping into everybody on Tristana. They're dead immediately. They are in a better place already. The only engage Glaive really has here is going to be on Clonkrong Zonk in that top lane on the Kled, followed up with Trivia Boy with the Galio. And if you know exactly how someone's going to engage, it's a lot easier to play around it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's very, they have a very telegraphed game strategy right now.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as you hear charge, you know what's going to happen. So I do think, I'm not entirely sure VBO has like all of the answers to the composition that Glaive have supported themselves with, because it is kind of a check and balance situation. Glaive Esports, they do have a composition I think that they can excel on an individual level on, which is kind of what they're looking to do here. Right. Kled can, 1v1 the top lane, and if he becomes successful, transition to other lanes. Yeah. Tristana can force the Veigar out of lane very early and very quickly with that Hail of Blades, composition that is pretty much standard now. Galio, Ezreal, not going to do a whole lot, but it's into Jinx Thresh, so it doesn't have to, right? Like, that's not a hyper-aggressive, like, Nautilus Misfortune lane or anything like that. So, you can get cheeky with the death sentence into Claptrap, but it's nothing crazy, especially with Ezreal's Arcane Shift keeping him so safe. Your main target is going to be that Galio for Trivia Boy, and it's just not the tanky, so you're not going to really be able to kill anybody. VBO, once the team fight breaks out, that first one is going to be so impactful, because with the hyper carriers on both sides, whoever can get that first big team fight win is going to be able to snowball that into even more. And so a lot of this is actually going to be on Dust to Dawn with this Urgot pick, because we've seen Urgots before, and we've seen them a number of times in professional play. We've seen them a couple times here in Excellency, but nothing too crazy. And there is so much pressure on that Beyond Death ultimate to actually get a fear off, because even if you get the execute, cool, you killed somebody below 20% HP. That in and of itself is not that important. Getting the multi-man fear afterwards is where the game changes.
Yeah, you're totally right, but even more instrumental than Dust to Dawn on the Urgot is actually, in my opinion, going to be Walnut on the Thresh. Good Threshes hit hooks. Great Threshes place the box and the flay properly. That has always kind of been my motto when it comes to Thresh. The hook is a great way to set up an engage, but that's not the most important part of your kit.
It's not Blitzcrank.
Right. You have two immobile carries. You have a Jinx and a Veigar, and they're going to be your main output of damage come later on in the game. Walnut needs to prioritize keeping them alive. And if he doesn't do that, you lose Jinx and Veigar at the beginning of the fight. First off, I blame Walnut immediately if that does happen. He has the tools to keep them alive. Second off, you've also lost the fight, speaking of team fighting, because Glaive, VBO is all about the burst damage. They're all about blowing you up immediately. They are not really about the sustained damage outside of the jigs, right?
Yeah.
And the Graves to some point, but still he wants to blow you up too. So I think Glaive is going to have to get in on these backline carries, and VBO is going to have to keep those backline carries alive so they can do that initial output of damage that's just going to break the team fight open.
All right, Juicebox, no thought, no words, no time left. Who's going to win game one?
Glaive.
All right, folks, we're going to kick it to a short break while we get the Rift set up for this Game 1 match between Glaive, Amethyst, Esports, and Vlad. Banners only. You certainly aren't going to miss any of the action, so stay tuned, where you will be joined in just a second by the lovely voices of Necrox and DJ, who will be bringing you all of the action from inside the Rift. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, friends, family, and fans, all here excited for Excellency Heavy League Spring Grand Finals between VBO and Glaive Amethyst on red and blue side respectively. Both teams here April 8th looking to make history for these two, and we're going to get a little bit of an early start here. DJ immediately headed into the enemy jungle.
They know they're here. They're setting up a trap.
BOS2 gonna lose his bone plating, getting autoed down by Prophet. The recall barely comes through for Baby Powder, gets an early ward, and we're not starting off things slow tonight, DJ. Already these teams looking to get every advantage they can in this best of 5.
Yeah, you can already feel the tension here. Necrox in game 1 hasn't even started. This is the matchup we've all been waiting for. Number 1 against number 2 all season long. It is the reigning champs up against the Titans, the monsters that Glaive have been all season long. And what a start we get to this game. I mean, my eyes have to be topside here. Clonk was so instrumental in the series against YO Boomers. He gets back on the Kled, but look at Dusk to Dawn throwing down the Urgot after Starling was joking in his interview about giving him a PayPal to pick up the Urgot. Like, this is brilliant stuff. These two teams are not going to back down. They are here for blood. They are here for victory. And that top lane matchup is one of the most volatile it could possibly be. Both of these champions want to dish out the damage. Both of them need to be ahead to be useful when they throw themselves into the enemy team. This is going to be a massive point of pressure for either side, and I expect to see some jungle intervention at some point. Baby Powder should be a little more poised to do so on the Lilia, but yeah, you cannot let either of these top laners fall too far behind, or it will just get really ugly.
And after... You said it so aptly, DJ, in the last series. Glaive have no weak side. That's a good engage with the death sentence onto Vark, having to walk away. The ignite already used onto Walnut. Trivia chunked down to half. There's the zap. Trivia low. Flash heal immediately. And VBO's bot lane have started this one off quick.
Yep, this opposed to the volatile lane in the top side is very Jinx Thresh favored. You know, Galio no longer the super high priority support he was at the beginning of the season. He offers you a lot of things in the mid game, in the late game, for rotations, for setup, for engage, and even counter engage, but he does not lane very well into this kind of combination. He's not as tanky as he used to be, and Jinx so powerful in the push in the early levels with the fishbones, with the extended range. Stingus already putting the pressure on, and Vark kind of has to just sit here and play safe. He is on an Ezreal. That is what the champion's designed to do, but expect a lot of pressure here from VBO's bottom lane that can help them try to get some early Drakes, try to get some advantages.
And he's forced to miss the cannon as well, so will miss out on the first cannon of the evening. Vark, after being snubbed out of the pro team, certainly looking to make a name for himself tonight and show up big when it matters most in the grand finals here for Excellency Heavy League. Now that we have a little bit of time just to discuss what's happened so far, it's been an early invade into a nice level 2 play from Stingus and Walnut, the bot lane that everyone has their eyes on tonight. And speaking of Walnut, early rotation into mid lane. Prophet was trying to set something up with the jungle support duo, but no play to be found just quite yet. We'll head right back down to bot lane as Baby Powder gets his first recall in, picks up those cooldown boots.
Yep, boots are in the inventory. This is the tried and true jungle path here. Those cooldown boots do so much work in the early phases. They're cheap. They give you so much ability to clear faster, get around the map faster. It's just a brilliant buy for even AD junglers. This item is so a good start here for Baby Powder, getting to that breakpoint really, really quickly, getting back out on the map. And he does have a bit of a tempo lead here against Jimmy on this hard farming Graves. Is trading in topside.
Oh, wow. So well done by Klonk to avoid that engage. Looking for something, both these top laners low. Just waiting for any further damage to pour out, but will be settled for now. Jimmy is here on top side. If something does begin to manifest, and here you go, headed up here, smells blood in the water, and like a shark, the Graves has come hunting. There's a ward there for Klonk. Will spot out this gank attempt, and will retreat back to the safety of his turret.
Yep, nice warding coming in from Klonk, but it will allow the wave to be shoved in. So Jimmy expending a little bit of time, allowing Dusk to shove this out. I think he wants to get his buy-in before Klonk can remount, shove this wave, and Klonk not really that close. Again, you get a lot more charge. Oh, wow, they're trying to make a pull here.
There was no ward for Dusk to Dawn, having to flash, but isn't enough. Now dashing away, but it was never going to get you to safety. First blood to Glaive Amethyst, the #1 seed in the regular season, and they have started the finals off right.
And that's just so clever from Baby Powder there. Again, we have these junglers 1-2 in the all-pro teams, and Baby Powder, much to the dismay of Juicebox Guy, was placed below Jimmy, but that early pathing is just brilliant. He knows that they think they're safe. You know, they clear the ward away. Jimmy's there. Dusk is thinking, I get a free push here. I'm going to reset this, go back to base, get myself a nice juicy buy. And he uses the cover of the darkness, the lack of the ward, to punish right after Jimmy leaves. That is brilliant stuff from Baby Powder. And he has gotten both himself and his top lane an early lead. But bottom lane,
looking for the engaged TP now being channeled. It's 3 members here, but soon will arrive. No, it was canceled. And now flashing away. POS2 looking for a solo kill to profit. The exhaust is down the cage as well. Flash follow and a solo kill for this Tristana. POS2 picks one up. 2-0 Glaive Amethyst.
yeah, getting off to a great start here. Our Glaive already earning themselves advantages in every topside role, which are so critical to VBO. This is usually where their bread and butter is, where they play through. It's Dusk, it's Baby Powder, it's Jimmy, it's Prophet. These three are the members who are usually so instrumental, and every one of them have been set behind now. Baby Powder earning advantages through farming, then getting Klonk ahead, and now it's POS catching Prophet in rotation, jumping over the wall. The exhaust is not enough when you are alone and don't have the extra CC of a support, and down goes Prophet for another kill. Lovely stuff from Glaive. They're going to be feeling great with an early 1K gold lead.
And that Buster shot will put Glaive at a wonderful advantage, only 7 minutes into game #1. We still got a long ways to go, but Glaive have started it off fast with an early invade into a bot disengage, and now they're taking an advantage in mid lane everywhere, looking to go the way of Glaive Amethyst tonight. Without the objective being taken just quite yet, though, Dragons have really been ignored at the utmost priority this time around. Typically, these two teams really like to get control over their objectives, but it's a different game plan tonight.
Yeah, they do usually like to have a lot of objective control, but maybe just looking to play it slow. Jimmy is on a Graves that does require a little extra focus on farming to really get to a strong point. That's how Jimmy likes to play this champion. He really wants to look to carry on it. You know, he wants to get ahead. He wants to get every camp he can. So maybe taking a little bit of extra time or just waiting for a good bot lane timer. Again, this bot lane playing fairly well so far as Dust just going to walk away from Klonk. They are slightly ahead now after they pick up this wave on CS, but should be able to hover around the Drake, particularly because Dusk has TP advantage due to that canceled TP on Klonk. I think this should be VBO's Dragon as they ping it out and start it up.
Start this one up. Sing is going to rotate on over as well, helping to secure first Dragon for VBO. They've lost a couple kills, lost a few friends, But now they're going to claim, first Dragon, hook over the wall from Walnut just to zone away, and this is now their win condition. They have picked up one Dragon. It is quite late into the game, to be fair. That is something to work towards for a team that is already set so far behind, and especially a team that needs to be able to survive the initial engage, survive that charge forward, and kite back with your carries in Jimmy, Stingus, and Prophet.
Yeah, you're going to need to find a way back in, but I got to say, I love what Glaive have done. They know this Dragon's going to go down. They know they have TP disadvantage, so what do? They make the cross-map play. Lilia goes, takes the Krugs away, and basically just acts as a threat for the dive. So you see Dusk to Dawn forced all the way off of his turret, 2 full waves, now crashing into that top lane turret. Again, this is a very volatile top lane matchup, and so despite getting that early Drake, you have now set Dusk to Dawn very far behind Clonk, Gronk, Zonk on this Kled, and we all know what that man can do on this champion. So keep your eyes up in that top side. Keep your eyes on Clonk, because he's getting the resources on the other side of the map every time VBO want to make a play on bot.
The top side for Glaive Amethyst has really accelerated this game. Already 2 kills there, and POS2, they're going to shove in this wave once more. Will do so successfully. That is what Tristana is known for. And you have to give commends to Trivia Boy and Vark for withstanding the pressure of this lane. They really get counterpicked quite hard with the Jinx and Galio matchup. Get so much range, and then the Thresh to cancel the taunt as well. There's so much utility, and they have survived quite well. Only down what is going to be 4 CS after this. POS2 looking for the play in mid lane. The cage can't connect. Prophet certainly going to drop the auto attack, connects through the Buster shot, and that is basically 2 solo kills to POS2 in the mid lane.
Yeah, a little bit of help there from Baby Powder. He'll get the assist on his scoreboard, but like you mentioned, really not a whole lot extra done by the Lilia there. It is pretty much all POS, and he just has Prophet's number at the moment. It's the second time he's sort of dipped out of vision and then just jumped back in. Prophet doesn't quite get the cage placement correct. It allows POS to just walk straight on top of him, auto him down there. Already had the Noon Quiver in the inventory, so a lot of damage. You saw how badly he chunked Prophet out, and you see Prophet had the exhaust up, but just recognized, yeah, I think I'm dead here. Doesn't even use it, just going to hold on to that Summoner spell for another opportunity.
And with both Summoners, does have a little bit more safety, but last time all 4 were expended, POS2 still found the solo kill, and this is mid lane kingdom now for Glaive Amethyst, as bot lane is trying to make up for that little bit of a differential. Aftershock gonna be procced here for Trivia Boy, trying to get himself away. There's the Jinx rocket, ignites ticking, but Trivia will survive for now. On the run with a Justice Punch, but Prophet's on the chase. Vark trying to escape as well. Will be just fine. Flashing forward is Prophet, but does not connect the Q. And without the Baleful Strike, the Primordial Burst does not have kill threat. Vark and Trivia survive, but all this gold into Singus's pocket.
Yeah, huge props to Vark there, recognizing the threat. You know, a lot of people will play against a Vigar. You know, you got about half of your HP bar left, and you think, oh, I'm fine. Hold on here, as Jimmy might be in some trouble.
Jimmy's in some trouble. Everyone from Glaive collapsing on this jungler, and that is easy pickings. POS2 has found 3.
Hold on here. There looks like they might want to collapse. Oh, POS just going in.
POS2 just jumping in. There's the Galio over top, and Prophet is dead for the 3rd time this game. Has not been able to escape the waiting arms of Tristana. The Yordle fires big bullets, and with the Ignite ticking down, POS2 is gonna wail on this turret, but they're not even done yet, DJ. They're looking for more. It's Dusk to Dawn, who's taking a little bit of a nap in his own jungle. Walnut now trying to escape as well. Dusk is flashed, but does Baby Powder have the damage? One more Q, and Auto doesn't have it, but there's the Buster shot from POS2. Flashing forward for the kill, and this mid laner is popping off.
Necrox, this is just a kingdom here for POS2, but it is a team effort. All of this, every single thing that just happened in the last couple minutes for Glaive, and if I can get my observers to take a look at it, the ward sitting just outside the enemy red buff on that back bush, the one that is so very rarely cleared. I think it's the least cleared ward in all of League of Legends. Gives them the information they needed to know on Jimmy. That allowed the initial pick, and then they just used the strength of POS to win every skirmish after that. VBO can't even walk into their own jungle without being collapsed upon by the rest of the team. And that's where you see the Galio pick in the draft come in. They were able to stay safe. Vark flashing away from lethal damage that many would not have recognized. Trivia Boy then able to roam up and support the rest of the squad. This is just beautiful stuff from the likes of Glaive. And while they give up the second Drake, we've seen this before, Necrox. The first 3 games, all 3 games in the series against YO Boomers, they gave up early Drakes to get gold leads, to get their carries to item breakpoints, and then they struck at the third Drake. So playing in their comfort zone are Glaive Amethyst here, and they are so far ahead. It's 4K gold. VBO trying to do something about it in bot side, but they're just going to kite away.
It's too hard to catch out an Ezreal and a Galio. Vark and Trivia Boy, again, have been able to absorb the pressure that VBO have thrown their way. And the rest of the map can't say the same. Prophet, Dusk, and Jimmy all being punished so heavily. And with the gold lead now being at 4,000, it's just too much for VBO to handle. They're going to need to pick their fight eventually. I assume it's going to be around the third dragon that Glaive are going to contest, and that's where VBO has to draw the line at some point. They have to call the fight in, and they can't just keep running away from Glaive. VBO going to have to stand their ground somewhere.
Yeah, they are going to have to stand their ground somewhere. Again, they do have those 2 Drakes in inventory, so they will have a shot to get themselves to soul point in 3.5 minutes here, but look at Clonk already finishing. We got 3 mythic items in the Essence Reaver already in, and Clonk, so intelligent here. He's actually gone for a Sunfire Aegis onto this Kled to go up against the Urgot, make it a little bit harder to burst him down into execute range. He knows that with POS 5-0-0 on this mid lane Tristana, you don't really need to do a whole lot except stay alive and let your mid laner carry at this point in the game. Here is a nice play from VBO as they do force down the bottom lane turret. There's not a whole lot for Glaive to take on the rest of the map, so the first real time we've seen them maybe drop a little bit of tempo to VBO.
VBO, Stingus, the captain and coach here, is trying to lead the way to a first game victory on this Jinx, is one of 2 members alongside his support in Walnut that have not seen the gray screen so far. A lot of gold, to be fair, in Stingus's pocket will base eventually. And what is the purchase? It's full Greaves and Azil. Jinx nearly at 2 items, quite accelerated in this game, and that's the real carry this time around.
Yeah, I mean, it's yeah, the acceleration is real, Necrox. I mean, so far ahead here, the individual gold is not even close. It's literally 3,000 gold in the pockets for POS2 up above Prophet. Like, that is just massive. It's a full 2-item Tristana at 17 minutes. That's just like, you can do whatever you want with this Tristana if you're POS2, and we know how good POS is at this game. At AD mid laners, we've seen it on the Yone. We've seen it on all kinds of these champions. Viego, a big favorite, and now onto the Tristana, being the big carry here as he moves down to the bottom lane, still matched up with Prophet, who, yeah, if he misses the cage, he doesn't even have a mythic completed. He could just die at any time.
Had to buy the Seekers just to mitigate the threat from POS2 in this early game, and that means he'll be quite delayed on his itemization, really trying to scrounge up any CS and any gold he can find. Now moving towards bot lane again to take this 1v1. It will never be winning, really, and trying to get as much gold before this dragon spawns in 90 seconds. VBO, if they don't feel comfortable, they could give this one up. They're already 2 dragons in advantage as Prophet trying to clear out this wave. Jimmy's recall had been stopped, the lilting lullaby available, but will not be used. Simply a disengage, walk away, 60 seconds on soul point.
Oh no, Prophet, this is dangerous here. He will back off. He senses the danger. I think you might have seen that ward come over the wall too. He will just get out. Doesn't look like Glaive want to risk the prospect of diving of Agar. Even as behind as he is, you do run into that cage. It can spell a lot of trouble. Instead, they can just try to take away all these camps. They already have the mid lane turret down. The top lane turret is down. Now the bot lane turret is down. So all 3 outers have fallen here for VBO. And that means that the jungle is essentially forfeit now to Glaive Amethyst. They can push in. They can get wards down. They can steal away all of Jimmy's camps. And if VBO decide not to fight them, they can very well just see themselves bled out of this game as their camps, as their resources are slowly taken away from them.
Walnut fishing there with the death sentence will not find very much, and you can see VBO trying to jockey for any positioning on this dragon, but can't find a way in. There's just too much presence, and they're going to give this one up. The recall from Walnut gives that one away. Twirl Seeds as well, just to make sure no one's on the approach. And first dragon towards Glaive Amethyst will be Cloud, giving them a little bit of ult CDR as they move towards the inevitable late game. We crest 20 minutes into this one, and Glaive have come out swinging, DJ. Now I have to pose you the real question. At what point, at what objective do VBO take their fight?
Oof, it's a good question, Necrox. First, you're going to have to stop that Rift Herald. I mean, I think what you're looking for is potentially something around Baron. You need to do this around item breakpoints, really, is what you're looking for. Up to that point, you probably just have to give up objectives. The fortunate thing for you is 3 dragons away are the side of Glaive. Hold on here. POS, he's exhausted. Okay.
Immediate exhaust will get Prophet to safety with a nice dark passage over the wall from Walnut as well. Looking for a solo kill in top lane. Dust to Dawn battling it out with Clonk Wrong Song for the jungler soon to arrive. It doesn't even need the help. Dust gonna die. There it is. That's one. Jimmy now has to run. Clonk is top kingdom in this solo lane and solo kills Dusk.
Yeah, Clonk in the 1v2, making it look easy here. Oh, Stingus.
Gosh, is he just dead? Stingus gonna drop. Noah stays alive just for now. Bark having to flash away from a nice death sentence. That's a gale force forward from Jimmy, but he's sleepy. He's going to die. It was too much over the wall. He burns down. Now Walnut's on the run, but Clonk's on the chase. The bomb is ticking, and click, click, boom. POS 2 has evolved to POS 6-0 with 1,000 gold shut down on his head, and the Baron is at the perfect time because Glaive Amethyst start this one up immediately.
Yeah, the Baron just spawns and all of VBO has died right in front of it. This is an easy pickup for Glaive Amethyst. I'm not even sure what the... Oh, there we go. That's clever. Waiting for the Jinx Rocket. Beautiful stuff from them. It actually goes wide of the Baron. A little bit unfortunate there for Stingus. Maybe just throwing out a bait or hoping to pick up a kill. But they do wait out that potential execute. They take their Baron after that team fight win, and they continue to accelerate this game out of control. I was going to say maybe, you know, like a 25-minute Baron on 2 items is something that VP consider fighting around Necrox, and yeah, that one's off the cards now.
No Baron on the board. Even if they wanted to fight, they simply couldn't. And 9-0 now is the state of play for Glaive Esports Amethyst. Have not died at all in this game so far. Not the perfect game. They did lose a couple objectives and some turrets, but still deathless is every single member on GEA, and they're looking to make this one a masterclass, as the coach explained to me earlier. And Stingus desperate to complete 3 items. I'm sure Prophet desperate to complete his first.
Jimmy's hanging around here. Will he be able to catch someone? He does not quite have 2 items yet, but he could just burst out Vark.
Vark is going to die. One more shot. There's the collateral damage. And it takes down the AD carry. The caster curse is real. VBO find 1. And it's on a critical member for some extra priority. Trivia Boy with a hot shoe is going to dance around. That death sentence. The zap is dodged as well. Trivia Boy with inches to work with, but somehow he matrixes his way away.
Yeah, Trivia Boy with the fancy feet, the blue suede shoes. You wouldn't expect that on a literal stone giant like Galio, but he makes it happen. And while the turret in mid lane does get aggroed, they're just forfeiting this for the bot lane tier 2. It's just a free take from POS. Nobody can match him. So it is still a bit of a gold loss. Okay, POS. Nope, they're not going to go there. That's too scary.
You can see the hesitation there. You land the hook. Walnut's been fishing all game, and the moment they landed, they're like, yeah, no, we're just too far behind. There's no way in. That's a lilting lullaby. The Twirl Seed hit too. The Chompers will stop the engage for now, but it's an unstoppable Clonk Wrong Zonk under the turret. Stink is going to be taken taken down. That's the first one to drop in the fight. Now that it's Mount trying to change the tower direction, and it's 1-0. Make it 2. Now Baby Powder's on the run away from the turret, but he has nowhere to go for now. He's stuck in the base. The Glaive is there. A one-shot, and that's a huge shutdown. Trivia Boy trying to make the play. There's the flash taunt of the 2. Profits low, and he's deleted as well. Double kill is passed thrown over to POS2, but at what cost? Jimmy, the only remaining member to left to defend this base against Glaive Amethyst. It's only 24 minutes in, and they've already taken an inhibitor and 4 lives away from BBO. They'll disengage for now, but Glaive give you no room to breathe.
Yeah, Death Timer's just a little bit too low for Glaive to finish this one off. They'll take the jungle as a prize along with that mid lane inhibitor. Still extremely early into this game, but a couple positives do come in.
Jimmy's low. The chompers are not in the right spot, and he will just drop. Taken down by Clonk, who has found his second after a nice engage in mid lane. The man is feeling himself tonight. 14-3 for Glaive, and VBO are on base defense duty as they have to watch their win condition in Seoul fade away.
Yeah, that one was a little bit of desperation, I think, from Jimmy there. Again, he's on a Graves that needs to be ahead, and he doesn't even have 2 items. Like, you can't do that much damage if you don't have a second item, don't have some extra lethality in AD, and you can see it there. He just doesn't do a whole lot, and he has been largely just choked out of this game. Once Glaive took control of the turrets of the jungle, he hasn't had a camp to farm in probably like 4 minutes here, with his team dying, the jungle just getting warded out. It's been so difficult for VBO. The one big positive for them is that Prophet picked up those 2 kills in the last fight, a full 1,000 gold shutdown coming in from POS2. He also picked up Trivia Boy, so a lot of gold back into his pocket. He's completed the Everfrost, getting close to 2 items, but still so very far behind our VBO. They're trying to make something happen on Trivia.
But he's too tanky. They just can't find the mark. Going forward at POS2, but he's taken down low by the box. That's a huge lilting lullaby. It finds Stu, and here comes the Goon Squad. Glaive Amethyst has arrived. They're going to take down Walnut. They're going to take down Singus. They're going to take down 5 members, and they will take down BBO in game 1 with a triple kill to POS2. There's no one remaining to defend the base, and Glaive Amethyst are going to end this one out in dominating fashion. In a best of 5, they picked up a swift win in game 1.
Oh, they certainly have, Necrox, and that is a statement if I've ever seen one in game 1. A clinic from Glaive Amethyst. We heard their coach say he wanted a masterclass in this performance, and really, I think it was one play away from being that. They lost those 2 members diving underneath the inhibitor turret in mid lane, but outside of that, which still ended up in a 2v2 for them due to their gold lead, due to the Baron buff, they were just on another level in this game. You see all of the benefits of their composition coming through as they turn back play after play. They absorb pressure in bottom lane. They just execute what their composition is capable of to its fullest potential in this game. And POS, man, what a start to this series on this Tristana. I would bet my mortgage and everything that is banned away in game 2.
You gotta get rid of it. POS2 did so much damage, but the rest of the team wasn't too far behind. Vark only around 600 damage away as well. The Ezreal that had gotten so much pressure put towards him. Vark is really looking to make the difference tonight, and all of Glaive Amethyst just looks so strong. It's going to require teamwork and focus from VBO to find a way back into the series. But to break down exactly how that's going to happen, we're going to throw it on over to our analyst desk in just a minute to see what they have to think about the rest of the series headed our way.
Welcome back, everybody. Here we are onto the analyst desk. It is myself, Doctor, and this screen of darkness to my right here is actually Mitch. So welcome back, Mitch. We'll get the camera fixed for you in a second. Juicebox, please don't die. I need you for the rest of the series.
I'm choking like VBO. It's it's just something in my throat. I don't know. I'm fine.
So since you want to joke around, Juice, tell me what really went wrong in that game.
Okay. What really went wrong is the VBO drafted a composition. And that composition was meant to be a team fight winning composition, but they never got to the team fight. When you have 3 kills in the mid lane for the enemy team before you even get to a dragon fight, or when you're losing your top laner, or your bottom lane is getting really far back, or your jungler has been caught out by his own red buff. It doesn't matter how good your team fight comp is, because you got a flailing Kled just zipping in at you. What are you going to do? So, yeah, their team just fell so far behind before their composition even had a chance to activate.
Yeah, now speaking of composition, Mitch, I know you and I were talking a little bit about, the draft that came out of game number 1 for VBO, and it just, certain things just, they never pieced together.
Yeah, it felt like the Veigar answer to the Tristana mid wasn't exactly the answer. He got chunked really hard and died a lot 1v1 to the Tristana, and that's what kind of snowballed things. Like, not having the mid prio, it kind of hurt Jimmy on the Graves to be able to take advantage of his massive pushing bot lane in the Jinx Thresh. That's where VBO drafted their massive advantage, right? They saw Tristana and they said, we're going to pick Jinx Thresh, which is a really good matchup into Tristana, and then they decided to pick Ezreal into it. That's still a great matchup for Jinx Thresh, but they weren't able to take advantage enough, right? They camped bot, but they didn't quite get enough kills. They didn't quite finish off when Prophet did roam down. Both Ezreal and Galio barely lived with 1 HP. It was honestly such close margins that could have maybe turned the tides of the game and put the Veigar back, but it wasn't meant to be, and they weren't able to stack drags fast enough, and VBO just fell apart.
Yeah, so now heading into game number 2, it is going to be Vlad Banners only here on the blue side. So they will have the option to potentially first pick the Tristana, first pick the Hecarim, something that fits more with the playstyle that we've been seeing out of them these last couple playoff matches. So, I mean, Juicebox guy, with that in mind, do you think Glaive ban away either of those?
I don't think so. I mean, you got to look at it this way, right? You're either, if you don't ban either, you're either getting one or the other. And I think position to position, Glaive is just going to outperform on those picks specifically. So, I mean, I just have more faith in Baby Powder on a Hecarim than Jimmy, even though Jimmy, that is his best champion. And if you don't take the Tristana and you do take the Hecarim, he just went 10-1. So that is that's a bold strategy, to say the least. So yeah, I think that if you're Glaive, you just keep doing what you're doing and let it work. Yeah, don't stop the enemy team from messing up. That basically is what I'm saying.
Very true. I mean, speaking of, situations that you can find yourself potentially advantageous, in game number 1, you talked about the dragon, Mitch, and, how it was kind of late compared to how we were expecting. It was an 8.5 minute dragon number 1. They got dragon number 2, and they just weren't able to sit back enough. Glaive were really hammering the point home onto VBO.
Yeah, they were able to just continuously put on the pressure to VBO. I think that when they got those 2 dragons and they were such in a massive gold deficit, VBO just kind of had to let them take everything. Let Glaive take everything. Don't die. You have, Veigar and Jinx. You have great scaling champions, even the Graves in the jungle. But honestly, credit to Glaive for finding the kills and the picks to really snowball the game. They got that 1v2 for Clunk in the top lane on Kled. They were able to snowball that into a Baron and just end the game. So, yeah, I mean, just credit to Glaive for taking advantage of their early game and winning really fast.
Yeah, it was a 27-minute victory, I want to say. So pretty quick by, our standards here at Excellency Heavy League, which is par for the course, right? Like Glaive had the fastest win times of any team coming in here, coming off a lightning quick 3-0 of the YO Boomers last week. Now I'm going to pose this question to both of you. After watching that game number 1, watching the draft and watching the game itself, do you think we're on the verge of potentially another quick 3-0 here?
You know what this actually really reminds me of? Remember when we were all so excited because NA made it to the finals of MSI, and then we partook on the wrong end of the fastest best of 5 in World's history? Yeah. Something's telling me we're about to get a, one of those after war reenactments. You know what I'm talking about? I'm just getting that sense.
Yeah, I'm getting a little sense of dread that this could be a very dominant series from Glaive, but I do think that, VBO has a lot of experience in these high pressure situations, and I have faith in their players to be able to bounce back and, just buckle down and be like, yo, we've won this thing before, we can do it again. We had a bad game one, you know what? Just forget about it. Let's head into game two like it's a best of one and just win. They are going to be on blue side, so I do think blue side is favored in this meta. Yeah, let's hope that VBO can honestly put up a show. They are the reigning champions.
Yeah, so correction from production. It was actually a 26-minute victory there
You
from Glaive
silly
Esports.
goose.
Yeah, sorry, it's numbers. They look so similar. You got the 7 that goes like that, and then you got the 6
Yeah.
that goes like this. They're basically identical
No, it
from
happens.
a caster perspective. I mean, so heading into draft number 2 again to both of you, do we see any real adjustments? Obviously, VBO they had something that didn't work. We can already kind of mastermind their adjustments.